This is the Show Up Show, helping coaches, service providers, leaders, and entrepreneurs to master showing up to build their brand, authority, and grow their business. Whether it's showing up on social media, in front of an audience, on a live interview, or an actual stage, this podcast is going to help you overcome visibility fear to confidently brand yourself as the authority in your industry. I'm Joanne Chan, aka the Confidence and Visibility Queen, and I am on a mission to share how I went from a nobody to the confident leader I am today, what I have learned, and what I have done to build my brand and business from scratch, and help you do the same so that you can make an impact in the world with the meaningful work that you do. Whether you are new to the business world or feeling unsure about public visibility, or you want to be seen and heard in a way that doesn't feel icky but authentic to you, you will discover how to become visible in your own unique way and show up as the confident entrepreneur you have always dreamed about becoming. Now, it's time to get you show up and be confidently visible so you can easily attract more clients and opportunities for yourself. He became fascinated with marketing and sales almost 2 decades ago. Today, he's the co-creator of the X Factor Effect methodology, where he and his team have helped over 20,000 students and clients grow their businesses. He teaches that different is the new better, and his framework includes 9 pillars for differentiating your business so that you can become a market leader or category king. For several years, he traveled the world full-time with his wife and 4 children, and they continue to travel often and now live in Florida. So guys, help me welcoming the author of the new book, Ideas That Influence, that was built to help business owners discover their own wildly successful marketing ideas. I call him the marketing king, Daniel Dent. Welcome to the show.
Whoa, thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much. So excited to be here on the
Yeah.
Show Up Show podcast. So excited to be here. Now, Marketing King, I don't know if I ever deserve that title, but thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, well, you're all about helping people to become the category king, so you must be the king
Right.
of the king. So that's why I want to refer you as a marketing king. So yeah, again, thank you so much for shipping all the way to, the whole box, I would say, to my home. And thank you so much. I really love reading. I haven't finished reading it because it's a lot to digest, to be honest, a lot of information. So I'm only halfway through, I think, but I really love some of the concepts that you really talk about in the book. And you know what? What I love about the book is you started by telling the story of your youngest daughter, who at just 9 years old, she was begging you to help her start a business. So my first question is, how is the cookie business going?
Yeah, the cookie business. So the cool thing about when you launch a business like that, it's like you have it as a backup. You're like, whenever I need to, like I can go out and do this thing. For example, way back in the day, I used to be a big affiliate marketer. I know that because of what I learned as an affiliate marketer back in the day, at any time, if I needed to, I could come out and, be a really good affiliate marketer. My daughter now that had that cookie business that sold all of those cookies, she's super into soccer and that's her focus at the moment. So she's getting better and better at soccer. So she wants to make the high school team and eventually possibly play college, and who knows, maybe make it to becoming a professional soccer player. Let's see, fingers crossed, right?
That's so cool. Yeah, that would be so cool. But what do you think she wanted at such a young age? Why do you think she wanted to start her own business? Is it because of you, kind of like empower her, inspire her in a way to, become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out and crack that code, Joanne, because it's like, how do we encourage and teach people and inspire people to take action? And I'm going to be honest, though, I have 4 kids, Joanne, and I still don't know the answer. Like how, like where does the spark come from? What
Mm.
I've noticed is this: you can recognize the spark, and when you recognize the spark, you can start to pour a little bit of gasoline on that spark, and you can start to grow a big fire, and you can get people to start doing a lot of really cool things. But that that ability to self start, I still haven't cracked the code to it. Now, Joanne, you've got the Show Up Show podcast, and you've got Find Joy with Joanne. Have you figured out like how to start the spark? Because I don't know how it gets started yet. That's what I haven't figured out. I wish I could. I wish I knew what like starts the spark.
Yeah, a lot of people want to start a business today. It's cool. Becoming an entrepreneur, it seems like it's like cool thing to be. But it's one thing to want to become an entrepreneur and start a business, but it's also a totally different story to run a successful business and make money. What would you say? What does it take for someone? So what is the difference between a wannabe and someone who is really, a successful business owner or entrepreneur?
Yeah, what's the difference between the wantrepreneur and
Yeah.
the successful entrepreneur? So with our 20,000 students and clients, there's a few patterns that we've figured out. And people say this all the time, that like coachability is massive. It's true. Coachability is massive. Having the humility to listen to a coach who's where you want to eventually get to, massive. So if introspectively, if you're not to the point where you feel like you're coachable, or if you're lying to yourself about how coachable you are, like on a scale from 1 to 10, if if you say that you're an 8 but you're really a 4, then figure things out. Like, okay, that's one of them. Like, how can I get from being a 4 for coachability up to like that level 10? Because out of our 20,000 students and clients, the most coachable students, first of all, that's one of the big keys that separate the entrepreneurs from the real entrepreneurs. Another one of the big keys is not getting caught up in the minutia, not getting caught up in planning forever. There's a lot of entrepreneurs where unfortunately, they just get stuck in the space of being a entrepreneur just because they keep planning. They'll plan and they'll plan and they'll plan. And as you know, Joanne, with now your second podcast with the Show Up Show podcast, it's all about taking action and failing forward, because once you take action, then everything starts to fall into place. The failing forward concept is sparked by taking action. And when we start failing forward, when we start taking action and figuring things out, what you end up finding out really fast is that there is no real failure, because when it comes to taking action, you either figure out what works or doesn't work. And when you figure out what doesn't work, it goes into the bucket of, well, that one didn't work, and that one didn't work, and that one didn't work. But we know that something works. So let's keep on taking action until we find what does work. And then when you find what does work, it just works because it was meant to work. So there is no real failure when it comes to entrepreneurship, except for those entrepreneurs that keep on planning and not taking action.
Yeah, so true. I love how you reframe failure, because I remember when I first started out, just like anyone, I believe, we thought, we just build a funnel, run ads, and boom, we become a millionaire overnight,
Yep, build
right?
funnel, run ads
Yep.
equals millionaire.
That didn't happen. So when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, now what? What do I do? Right? Because that's idea that has been sold to us, right, in the online marketing world. So that's how I have to really figure things out and learn and fail forward, like you said, right? Just keep trying and keep going. Just don't give up. And eventually, I figure out what works. Once you figure out what works, it just works. Right? I really love that.
Right. And I know that podcasting is a big part for you, Joanne, of has what Joanne has with what has started to work, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we go out and we learn, okay, all right, you're one funnel away, build a funnel and
Yeah.
start running traffic to it. A lot of times, like the funnel in and of itself, it wasn't bad. It was just, it's just missing a few little keys, or it's missing positioning. But then when you figure things out and you keep on testing things, and then like, oh, let me try a podcast. And then all of a sudden, Joyanne, you've got a bunch of people coming to you and saying, hey, you've got a podcast, you've got a platform, I want to be on your podcast. And then that starts to position you, Joyanne, as this expert, this authority, because you have these two really cool podcasts. And that little bit of authority and influence from what you've built with your podcast, sometimes that's the tipping point. And then those same funnels that didn't work 5 years ago before you had the podcast could work today,
Mm.
because you have the podcast that acts as a positioning piece and gives you influence in order to make the funnel work and make the funnel convert.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. I haven't thought of that, right? And I feel like a big piece is that why it didn't work because I didn't have a what is the word for the offer? Like you didn't have an irresistible offer, right? I didn't have an
Right.
irresistible offer. So what? Okay, so I know a big part of what you do is also to help people become a category king or queen, as you said. So what are some of what are some of the steps to achieving this status or becoming an authority in your industry?
Well, yes. So authority, if we're defining authority as a category king or queen, those are two separate things. So like I can become an authority just by publishing a book. Oh, I published a book about a specific topic, and then automatically people start seeing me as an authority. Same thing with a podcast. I can start a podcast about a specific topic, and then people can start to see me as an authority. So that's one piece of the puzzle that can lead me to becoming a market leader or a category king or the category or a category queen. In the space of becoming an authority, one of our 9 pillars for our X Factor effect methodology, which is what helps people become those category kings or category queens, one of those pillars is called follow the celebrity code. Following the celebrity code is all about following the right steps inside of your niche market in order to give the face to your brand, but that face being, in your case, Joyanne, that expert, authority, that celebrity inside of the market. And then that is one big key out of 9. It's, if you imagine, you hear a lot of people, Joyanne, you've heard people talk about the marketing flywheel, right? Where it's like part of everything we're doing, it all works together. And there's a really cool concept that, if you haven't studied it before, Walt Disney, when he started to grow the Walt Disney Company, he had and he mapped out what he called the Walt Disney theory of business. And inside of the theory of business, every single piece of his business puzzle amplified other pieces of the whole business. For example, if uh if he released a new movie, that movie would create merchandise, and it would create music, and it would create rides for the parks, and it would have all of these different things because he launched a new movie. He put out a new movie, and then it amplified everything else inside of the business. So these 9 pillars that we teach, it's kind of the same thing. Every single piece of the puzzle that you implement inside of your business, it amplifies other parts of the business. Because it's one thing for me to launch a book, and then it's another thing if I use that book for multiple different pieces of my business in order to amplify the sales of everything else that I do inside of the business.
Mm. So you talk about following the celebrity code, right? Is one of the pillars. And you also teach about the other, not framework, but philosophy. Different is the new better. So how can
Right.
we that follow? Because I always believe that if you want to become successful in any areas in your life, you just have to learn from people who is really where you want to be in life or in business. So how can we follow their steps, but at the same time become different in our own way so that we stand out and have our own unique approach? It's not just another podcaster or another coach, another, whatsoever
Right.
in the marketplace.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught up in the sea of sameness. You don't want to be you want to find your differences that make a difference. And so sometimes people they say, well, Daniel, with the pillar for the celebrity code, like I don't know if that's for me. And sometimes they're right. Sometimes that's not the big difference that makes a difference for them inside of their business. And sometimes it is. So Joyanne, like, you're bubbly, amazing, people love you. And like, it's like, whoa, like it's perfect that, you know, you're growing your Instagram and you've got the podcast and everything. So sometimes people are like, I need something else.
Mm.
And one of the things I've coached some people through is, you know, sometimes the star of your business can be you, and sometimes um, it can actually be your products or services. And so there have been a lot of really big businesses that have been built where the reason why the person inside of the company is popular is because they first launched some really amazing products. One example was Steve Jobs. Was Steve Jobs right away? Or was he Steve Jobs the way we imagine him today after he launched his amazing products that everybody loved? Well, you could argue that when he finally launched the iPhone, that's when everybody started to know who Steve Jobs was.
Yeah.
And it's because he basically launched the most amazing product that everybody loves. Like, it's, if you go back and you study the sales pitch, when Steve Jobs launched the iPhone, I call it the most successful sales pitch of all time, because that presentation, when he first revealed the iPhone to the world, it was a multi-billion dollar and arguably $1 trillion presentation, a presentation that generated hundreds of billions and as much as $1 trillion in sales. That's a big deal,
Yeah.
right? And then so Steve Jobs launches this amazing product, and then everybody knows who Steve Jobs is, right?
Mm. Okay. Yeah. I think, yeah. So I think that's very interesting for people because, we all have this pressure of being in front of camera. Some people just don't like being in front of the camera or be on a podcast to sell something, right? They have to sell their own product or services. And I always say, it's even harder when you're trying to sell a service because the service is you, right? You are the product. Which is why it's so important to have a personal brand. And again, not everyone wants to be under the spotlight, be in the spotlight, right? So
Right.
and so your book, right? I want to go back to your book, and I love, again, the other things I love about this book is that it's not just a book; it's an experience that you have created for people. And I know I talk to so many people, right, in the industry, and so many people are struggling with marketing and they hate marketing. They don't want to learn marketing. They just couldn't figure it out. They just want to serve. They just want to help people. They don't want to know how to do all these things, right? So you make marketing learning fun for everyone to be a game, right? So
Right.
talk to us about the idea behind the book and also the whole box experience. How did you come up with this idea?
Yeah. Well, and this is a perfect example, Joyanne. So the box and the book and the box experience for everybody that's listening. So I launched this book, and then I wrote this book, and we're all about, you know, different is the new better. Like, we do things differently. We're the X factor effect. And I said, you know what? Am I going to launch if like the book is good? Like, people, like, if they read the book, they're going to love the book. But I was like, am I going to launch it the way everybody else launches it? Or am I going to do something different that people love? And that's where the concept of the 5 experience envelopes in the box and everything that the box comes with, the light and the gifts and everything inside of the box, it turns it into an experience. And this is an example, the box and the book, it's an example of what I was just saying with Steve Jobs.
Mm.
So this, the product in and of itself, can stand alone. I have videos where it shows off the box, it shows off the experience. And without people knowing who I am, just by them seeing the product and how cool the product is and what the book and the box experience can do for people, they say, that's cool. I want that. And so this is an example of, if we're talking about your marketing flywheel or your business flywheel or your theory of business, can you have a product that stands alone and it could sell without you being the attractive character? Does that exist? Or do you have to be the attractive character to sell your products or services? Now, if you can have both, if you can be an attractive character and have your product stand alone, then they work and they amplify each other. The box and the book, it amplifies me and I amplify the product as well. And so that's part of this concept of, let's stack all of these really cool things that we're doing different inside of our business in a way that our dream customers love. Let's stack all those differences in a way where everything amplifies itself, and then everything you've created is so cool, unique, desirable, that you become this unicorn inside of your market. And when you become a unicorn, that starts to take you down the path of market leadership, where you become that category king or category queen. Because category kings and queens, they have a number of differentiators inside of their business where they're so unique that they are category kings or queens because they can't be compared very easily to the rest of the competition.
Mm.
And so thanks for bringing up the book and everything, but that's a perfect example of, like, this
Yeah.
is what, kind of this is like the Steve Jobs type thing, and we can do it as well, as long as we put, if as long as when we go to create our products or services, we do it in a way that our dream customers love. Now, I didn't answer your question yet, but and I will, about, like, why the book
Right.
and what it does and everything. But what are your thoughts on that first?
Yeah, and to be honest, when it got me really excited. This is the first time that I'm so excited about reading a book, to be honest.
Awesome.
Yeah. So when I received the box, I did a video and I tag you, and then it's that, right? You have to make people want to share it with their followers, with their audience, with their friends, their families, right? And yeah, because I love it. So again, another question is that maybe because people might be listening to this right now and they might be thinking maybe they don't have a team, they don't have a budget to even create something like this. So how do they go about, for newbies, right? I'm saying, I'm not sure if that's the people that you work with, like people who are totally new, brand new in the industry. Like, how do they go about creating an amazing product that doesn't require a team, a huge cost, like how do they stand out?
Yeah, so if we're going to use the example of a book, so I have a friend who, when she bought the box and the book experience, and she was like, I just so you know, like, this was amazing, and I do something similar with my book. It's a lot more simple, but it's super impactful as well. And so I was like, oh, cool, like, let me buy it. So I went and bought it, and she sent it to me. And basically what she did was, first, it comes in this hot pink envelope. And so right away, it's like standing out in the mail. It's not a brown box, a brown, or a normal color manila, whatever those packing, bubble packing, whatever it's called. It was super bright pink and like metallic bright pink. So it like stood out. I was like, ooh, this is cool. In fact, when it came in the mail, I didn't grab the mail. It was my daughters that they got to the mail first, and they show it to me. They're like, Daddy, can I have the package? Can I open it? Like, I'm like, hey, that's mine. Right. And so that's a super simple thing. Like, obviously there's a little bit more of a cost to put it in that type of envelope, but it's not that much more. Maybe it's 50 cents more, 75 cents more to put it in that type of packaging. And then when I opened it, there was the book, and then there was this really fun, colorful welcome message just printed out on like a cardstock card, and it was like, welcome, and here's this, and here's this QR code, and this QR code takes me to here. And obviously, putting a QR code and taking me to a video, yeah, there's some costs, but it's not that much more. So there's a lot of really cool things that we can do. Inside of the box, in and of itself, I don't want to spoil anybody's surprises, but there at one point you get access to a set of dice, and this set of dice, you can only roll a 5, 6, or 7.
Okay.
I don't know if you've opened that envelope yet,
Oh,
but
yes.
the dice, you can only roll a 5, 6, or 7. It's like, well, guess what? That was actually one of the cheapest things inside of the box to produce. One of the dice, it has all 4s. Okay. And so just if you're looking at it sitting on the table, you kind of don't notice that there's 4s on each side unless you pick it up and you like analyze it. And it's like, oh, it's just 4s on every single side. And then on the other side, there's two sides have 1, 2 sides have 2, and 2 sides have 3. Okay. So if you roll it every single time, it's a 5, 6, or 7. Super cheap to produce, super cheap to mass produce. And like we're talking about like 60 cents per pair of dice in order to produce these. And It's an experience, and it's a fidget toy, and you can only roll 5, 6, or 7, 5, 6, or 7. And I won't spoil the reason for it inside of the box. People, when they grab the box, they can figure it out for themselves. But the whole point of this is that there are some really cool things that we can do experientially inside of our business that it's the 80-20 rule. It like packs a big punch. It's like impactful. And one of the pillars, Joyanne, that we teach inside of everything we teach our students is that you need to join the age of experience, because in the age of experience, people are sick of buying stuff. Instead of stuff, people want what? They want an experience. And so if you can add a great experience to the sale of any product or service that you're selling, then it's a differentiator, and is a very impactful, memorable differentiator that's going to set you apart from the crowd.
Yeah, I really can't wait to. I didn't know there's dice in the box as well. And yeah, by the way, I love this Mark. Is
Oh yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah. It's
the Rainmaker mug.
It's matching t-shirt with you, you are wearing the
There you
t-shirt.
go. That's mine right there. My
Yeah,
Rainmaker mug.
I'm gonna take a screenshot later and post it. Yeah, I love it. And this is what I use when I'm podcasting nowadays. Yeah, it's to remind me that you see, yeah, all this cool stuff, right? I love cool stuff. And so yeah, okay, so you mentioned about impacts, and I think it's all about how do you impact someone to take an action, right? Or to remember you. So you talk about a lot, you have a lot of teaching points here. And one of the things that you keep mentioning is a microphone message, right?
Right.
What is a microphone message, and how would you define it?
Yeah, the simple idea of your microphone message, that's like our code word for like your winning marketing message that breaks through the noise. But conceptually, the microphone message is this: if you were in a networking group and 100 people had 30 seconds to introduce themselves, your winning microphone message would be something along the lines of, out of those 100 people, there's going to be like one person that like they said something for those 30 seconds, and you're like, whoa, like that was like wait a second, wait, did you hear what they just said? And like other people are like having the same effect. And it's so good, like what they like quickly revealed within those 30 seconds, that you're like, wait a second, let's give the microphone back to that person and let's have them tell us more. So your winning microphone message, it's your marketing message where people say, whoa, I want to hear more. That's what it is. And in today's world, we're all exposed to about 4 to 10,000 different marketing pieces and ads every single day. There's a lot of noise. It's like Times Square, like everything's trying to get your attention, right? Like everything's trying to get your attention. And so like we have 4 to 10, this is according to a Forbes article, 4 to 10,000 different marketing pieces or ads or things like vying for our attention every single day. And so the trick is, how are you going to be that one thing that breaks through the noise? Because yesterday, what's the one thing that you remember out of the 4 to 10,000 things you were exposed to? What's the one thing? Sometimes we remember and sometimes we don't remember, but usually it's like one impactful thing that like broke through the noise. And that's the goal with our microphone message. We want to be that one thing that just broke through all the noise and grabbed our dream customers' attention and said, hey, like, this is really, really cool. Like, this is what you're looking for. That's the goal of the microphone message.
Yeah, but how do we create that piece of message?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
once you have that, like that is the magic wand, right? Once you have that, you're gonna win over all your clients. So how do we create that piece of message?
Right. So there's 7 main elements that we cover inside of the book. And I can quickly cover a few of the elements.
Yeah, just a few. I
Winning
wanted to buy the
microphone
book. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go over just a few of them.
Yeah.
But it's part of a formula. Because what I ran into was I realized, and Pedro, my business partner, we realized that we just naturally come up with good ideas. Joyanne, you naturally come up with good ideas, but not everybody naturally comes up with good ideas, right? And so there needed to be like a process for really good marketing ideas that break through the noise. And so we did a lot of research, a lot of studying, and we figured out that there's 7 main elements for a winning microphone message, a winning marketing message that breaks through the noise. Quickly, here are a few of those 7 elements, and we cover them all in the book. One of them is that it needs to be focused. Single concept or idea, one big thing. There's a thing I love that Perry Belcher taught me way back in the day when I bought one of his courses. This was like 12 years ago that I bought this course. And the one thing in the course that stood out was he said that the biggest mistake a lot of marketers make is that they introduce a second or a third big concept or idea inside of their marketing. And when they do, they think that they're gonna like increase their sales, but they normally cut their sales in half. And so, and the reason for that is because of the noise factor. It's too much noise. It's too much for people to consume. It needs to be one big focused message. So that's one of the things. Another thing is we need to put our audience center stage. It needs to be all about them. It needs to be about the dream customer. It needs to be that one thing that the dream customer is looking for today. So put your audience center stage. Another thing is that it needs to have an X factor. It needs to have something that stands itself apart from the rest of the crowd. So in the case of the book, that's why when I finished writing the book, Joyanne, and I was like, oh no, I need it to still have an X factor. I need to do something different if I'm going to launch this book successfully. It needs to have an X factor in order to break through the noise. And the information was good. You could argue that like the information was the X factor, but it didn't like have a real X factor. And that's why I was like, oh, we got to do the box experience. And now it's like, okay, now it has an X factor. Now people are like, whoa, like that's different. And that's what the X factor is, like that difference. So those are a few of the elements.
Yeah, well, I'm getting so many ideas. Like you say, we are people who generally have a lot of ideas when we just talk to one another, talk to a friend. Like, no, my mind is like filled with so many ideas because I like shared with you before, I'm launching a new offer. Now I'm thinking like, how do I want to launch my offer like differently than anybody else, right, in the market, in the podcasting space? I was thinking, okay, how can I make it into an experience for my people to want to join my program? So yeah, I thank you so much for that. A lot to think about. Now, I really want to talk about your how you started. So because I read your story, you also shared your story in the book. Just like every successful business owner or marketer today, they always started with maxing out their credit card. It's like the story that I heard again and again. So if you could travel back in time and when you were just starting out, when you were working 24/7 a day, like forgetting to sleep, maxing out your credit card just to make money, if you could start over again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, so one of the first things that I did as a business owner that made money for my family was I owned this party business, and we rented out the big inflatable bouncy castles and the big slides. And I was a balloon artist, and I would do all these parties, and I would tie balloons for all the kids and the adults as well, and it was a blast, and it paid the bills for many years. But I made one big mistake, and it's probably like looking back, I'm like, well, I mean, I was in my 20s and I was like, how did I make that mistake? Like, it was so like such a common mistake. And that common mistake is that I competed on price.
Right.
I tried, I was proud that I was the lowest price, like inflatable rental guy around. Here's the thing: Dan Kennedy says there's no strategic advantage of being the second lowest price. Either you're the lowest price, and there's only one position for that. But that position, it's a really hard spot to be in, because if you are the lowest price, then your margins are really bad usually.
Yeah.
And you got to do a lot of volume. And so I had to do a lot of volume, a lot of rentals as the lowest price guy. And I thought I was a genius. This is the thing. I thought I was so smart that I was the low price guy doing so much volume. At the end of the day, I was just wearing myself out and not scaling the business. It was a me business. I couldn't afford to scale the team because we had the lowest price. There was no scalability in the business. And so I had built this amazing brand over years and was built this reputation for providing quality at the lowest price. Now, if anybody that's listening, Joyanne, is thinking, well, oh, dang it, I'm providing low quality and I'm the lowest price, it's okay. There's a way out of it. And the way out of it is to say, all right, our main differentiator can no longer be that we're the lowest price people. Our main differentiator needs to be something else. And then we can stack those differences. We can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 differences that make a difference, that start to position us as a unicorn inside of our market. And so that's what I would go back in time and tell myself is, hey, being the lowest price person is a really not so smart way to run a business. I'm trying to be nice to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to say it's a dumb idea, Daniel, but that the truth is there's a lot smarter, more strategic ways in order to run a business.
So you were I believe, I assume that you were struggling. You struggling for years, if not wrong, or at least months, right? When trying to get your business off the ground. So what was your tipping point? I know what was the tipping point, but you shared you shared in the book is that you started selling kits for smokers, right? Who wants to quit.
Oh, right, yeah.
Your tipping point, yeah, is that how you finally figure things out? So for people who are maybe they're still on the journey of struggling, trying to figure things out, and they just don't seem like to get, the results like they wanted to have. So what would you tell them to do or fix?
Yeah. So the main concept of everything that like got me and lots of our students to break through the noise was really adopting the concept that different is the new better. If we're going to go back to the box example that people are loving, if we go back to the iPhone example, if we go back to any business that's really started to break through the noise, they were different in some way. And what their dream customers, if you ask them, if you say, why do you like business X over business Y? And what they will say is, I think that they are better because they are different in these different ways. And what we noticed is it just happens over and over again. If you ask somebody, why are they better? Well, then they'll say, well, they're different because, and then they'll list all the ways that they're different. And so what we realized is people are equating being better with being different. And that's why we say different is the new better. It used to be that you could have the best quality and that was a differentiator. But today in 2024, everybody has quality. Everybody's expected to be quality. Everybody's expected to provide quality products and services. And if you don't have quality products and services, then you're dead in the water. Nobody wants to buy your stuff because there's too many options. Everybody has quality. And so today in 2024, it's all about who is different in a way that the dream customers love. One of the examples that comes from Southeast Asia is there's this banana, and it's nicknamed the ice cream banana.
Okay.
The blue Java banana. It's a banana, and it's nicknamed the ice cream banana because it kind of tastes like vanilla ice cream.
Okay.
And the banana, you've seen, lots of people have seen red bananas. Obviously, we've all seen yellow bananas. But the banana, when it's ripe, it's a light blue tint. So it's called the blue Java banana. Super rare, apparently super tasty. But these bananas, they're so hard to get a hold of and they're so desirable that they sell for about 30 times more than normal everyday yellow bananas. 30 times more, right? So it's unique, it's different, the taste is different. People say it's what? They say it's better, right? They say it's better. Different is the new better. Have you tried a blue Java banana before?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm like waiting for the day. I need to try a
Okay.
blue Java banana.
Okay. Come over and we're gonna try it together. Love it. Yeah. Well, Daniel, thank you so much. Obviously we can sit here and talk forever, but I want to be respect of the time. So thank you so much for joining us again, early morning. Now tell my people, where do they get this book or the whole box if they want to?
Yeah, thank you, Joyanne. So if you go to bigideasbox.com, then this is actually going back to funnels. This is a free plus shipping funnel. This is the first ever free plus shipping interactive book box experience. You've seen free plus shipping books. This is the first free plus shipping book box, right? And so you just pay shipping and handling, and I ship out the book along with the box. You even get the mug that Joyanne was showing off. You get the whole enchilada. You get the whole thing. It's amazing. People are absolutely loving it. And the whole concept behind the book and the box is that it's going to help you come up with your own big, bold, sticky, and wildly successful marketing ideas that break through the noise. So bigideasbox.com is where you can grab that for free.
Yep, so you can join us and show off your mug and your book and tag Daniel on your Instagram. So yeah, all right guys, I know you love today's episode because you listened to the very end, and I'm sure you have learned a lot from our guest today, Daniel. And if you have any questions, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can always leave a comment below. We'll get back to you. Remember to like and subscribe to this podcast on the platform that you are listening to. And I put all Daniel's link in the show note below, so make sure you check it out and get your books. Books. Did I say books? Get your book box experience today. And until next time, keep showing up. Success doesn't show up for you until you show up and pursue your own success. Bye.